Hello, and I'd like to welcome you over to our show. Here's a quick message from our sponsor. Over at Icebreakers Jersey Breaks, we are doing jersey breaks starting at $15. How that works, you will be able to pick a number 0 through 9. Once all the numbers are claimed, I will go live. I will give you guys the option of which boxes you would like. I will reveal what is inside each box, and if your number is the second digit on the jersey, you will win. So, for example, if this Joe Montana got pulled and you had 6, you would be the winner. Speaking of Joe Montana, that's going to be our first giveaway. How you can get entries is by joining the group and direct messaging me, Podcast JB, or you can invite a friend, and for each additional 3 after your first one, you will gain an additional entry. And then by joining a break, you gain entries for every break that you join. Once we reach 200 members and 5 breaks, or 16 breaks, we will draw a winner out of the hat and send this one out to you guys for free. There will be multi-sport and football only available, and there will be $100 personal breaks where you will get to pick which box you would like to open. I will reveal it and send it out to you guys. The breaks are starting at just $15 and going up from there. So don't forget, follow us on Instagram at IcebreakersJB and join the Facebook group Icebreakers Jersey Breaks. Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of One Big Mess. Just to give you a little update, I did come back positive for COVID and it was kind of shitty, but today I got my taste back and I'm feeling tip-top magoo. Shout out to Uncle Joey, aka Joey Diaz, for that one. And yeah, I just got a lot more energy. Tasting food is amazing. Never take it for granted. Never take it for granted. But without any further ado, for my gamblers and stuff over in Icebreakers, got a gambling story to start off the day for you. We're going to keep this storytelling format for the first few episodes until I'm cleared and can get some guests in here, and then we'll venture out into other types of art once we get the guest in, and we'll focus on what the guest's expertise is while they're in. But without any further ado, let's get this show on the road. So one weekend I was like 15 or 16, and we used to live over at this man Shire's parents' house, me and Jay Howe. And one weekend I had like $1 or $2, and me and my cousin Justin went over there, and Jay Howe was over there obviously, and Cameron and Jay Howe were playing some 2K, and I put $1. I don't even remember who I had the $1 on, but I ended up winning. And then from there, I put $2 on myself to win the next game, and just worked my way up, kept playing, and made it up to like $10, $20 or something like that. And then we started playing basketball outside. I somehow made it up to like, I think 70 at one point, but it ended up being like 55 or 50 by the end of the night when we all evened it out. But I turned $1 into over 50 in a weekend just by gambling on video games and basketball, playing horse and whatnot. We were out there 4 in the morning playing basketball. You couldn't even see anything, and we're out there. Terrible, man. Bad habit. Don't do it. Unless you're coming over to Icebreakers, then do it. But Another big winning story I have is up at Soaring Eagle up in Mount Pleasy. The biggest I ever won was about 400 one night. Went up there after work at the old pizza house, as I had done many times before, and probably was there until 4 in the morning at least. But yeah, I was up, drove up after work, and got there and started playing some blackjack, and I was doing alright, but whenever I win real big, it's always on roulette. And so I went over to roulette, and I just got on a hot streak. I was hitting 3 here, 3 here, 4 here. I just couldn't lose. Eventually got myself a nice meal, and I think I had to be back for work the next day. Figured I better not push my luck too much, and walked out of there with a nice 400 or so. But you ever hit a deer? Anything on the road? Got a story for you for that. Never hit a deer myself, but I did hit a goose one time, coming from the old pizza house again, going over to Cleo Street, and I got on the highway over at Trowbridge Road, got on to 496 in downtown and Lansing area, and right when you get on, you come around this curve, and so I'm coming around the curve, and it's nighttime, and all of a sudden I hear something that I hit, and got a glance of it, and hit a goose on the highway. It was just chilling in the middle of the lane. I don't know how it didn't already get hit before I hit it. I don't know what happened to it. I drove by the next day and it was gone, but it damaged my car. I remember my front bumper was all cracked in the middle and split. Not horribly, but a little bit from the beak of the bird, like at 70 miles an hour, crushing into hard plastic. Obviously, it's going to do a little bit of damage. But yeah, man, luckily that's all I've ever hit. I've never hit anything bigger than that. Got a nice Chicago story as well. So, one of my old co-workers moved out to Chicago, and I went out there to visit a couple summers ago, and she was working at Soho House, and I stayed with her and her brother, and we were just sitting there. That was the first time I really had smoked backwoods a lot, was out there, and usually I just smoke like a White Owl or a Swisher up until that point, primarily White Owls. Now I'm more of a Game or a Dutch fan, but back then I was big into the White Owls. But yeah, we were chilling out there, and I didn't take the car. I parked my car, and I didn't touch my car the rest until I went to head back to Lansing, because we were just doing taking the subway around and taking cabs and stuff, so I didn't have to pay for parking or anything like that. And that was kind of nice, getting to know the city and whatnot and live like a local. And I actually went to go eat some dinner up at the Soho House at one point in time. I didn't see anybody crazy in there or nothing like that, but it was a good time, some good food. Might have to go back sometime and check it out when I got some more money, but did some longboarding out there, did some shopping, went over to TJ Maxx and Levi store and got this backpack from the Levi store that I still use pretty much anytime I go on a trip anywhere. It's big enough to carry the clothes that I need for my like 3 or 4 day to a weekend trip. And yeah, real durable. Has never done me any wrong. But yeah, on the way to head back, I told my friend that I would take her back to Kalamazoo, where she was from, and then take her back to Chicago a few days later for some gas money and whatnot. And so I go pick her up, or oh no, she had to come to Lansing. She had 2 apartments at the time, and the lease was up on the one in Lansing, so she had to come and get the shit out real quick. That's what she came up for. So I came to pick her up, take her back to Chicago and whatnot, and drop her off and head back this way after a little bit. And I'm coming in from Indiana into Michigan, and I'm talking not a mile into the state of Michigan, right as I get into the state, there's a tire on the highway on the line of the shoulder, but it's like halfway in the lane, and I'm in the left lane where the tire's at. There's a semi truck in the right lane, so I basically have no choice. I can't stop because I'm on the highway, obviously, so I can't stop, I can't get over, I just have to eat it. So I hit my brakes real quick and pull off to the side, and my tires are both on that side destroyed. Like, no chance at getting anywhere on those. And so I call up my grandma or my mom, I don't remember which one. I got AAA. I could get AAA through both of them, but I called up, I think, my grandma first, and then I got a hold of my mom, and she gave me the info. And so then I called AAA, and I'm waiting out there on the shoulder for like quite a bit, and it's the middle of summer. It's pretty hot out there, and there's a rest area across the highway, and I'm so thirsty and hot. I need some water and something. So I ran across when I got the chance over to the freeway, or to the rest area. I booked it. I was not taking no chances. And got myself a water and some ice cream and went back to the car and was waiting. And eventually the tow truck pulls up, and there's only one tire place within like the 5-mile radius that is free to get towed to. And so I'm like, I guess take me there. By the time the guy gets to my car, it's probably 4:30. And by the time we get to the tire place, it's like 4:55. And the place closes at 5. So I'm like, wow, just my luck. But I did have my longboard in my car, and I had posted on my Snapchat story that I was stranded. So I had a couple people hit me up. My buddy Luke hit me up, and then Shirey hit me up as well, saying that if I needed a ride, I could get one. And I was like, I'll probably get a room out here, but I'll let you know. And so I get on my longboard, and I start riding down the road, and I get to this one place, and that's like a hotel, and then they got a little campground off to the side as well. And so I start talking to the guy about a room, and he's like, oh, our cleaning lady's sister is in town, so she requested the night off, so we don't have any rooms available. But if you absolutely need to, you can come stay over in our tent. So I at least had like a fallback option. And so then I keep going down a little further, and I get to this other hotel. It was like $60-70 a night or something like that. I was like, yeah, I don't really have a choice. So I go to pay for it, and I don't have my wallet on me. My wallet was left in my car like two 2.5 miles back at this point now. And so then at this point, I hit up my buddy Luke. I'm like, yo, you trying to give me a ride? Because I was going to get a room, but by the time I got back, I'd have to longboard another like 4 miles. So I'm not really trying to do that. He's like, yeah, I'll start heading that way. But I was over in New Buffalo, which is like hour and a half, 2 hours from Lansing probably. And so it takes a little bit of time, but I was kind of familiar with the area because I had been there when I was younger to this restaurant called the Stray Dog with my dad and my family. So I went over to near the Stray Dog and the beach and whatnot. It was right on the coast of Lake Michigan. And so it's a pretty nice area out there. And so I'm waiting around and whatnot, and I was gonna go to the Stray Dog and have a nice meal, kill some time, but they were packed up the wazoo, and I was not really trying to wait that long, and I was not 21 at the time, so I couldn't sit at the bar. But I forgot to mention, I had a blunt rolled with me in the car, but I did not have a lighter. So I went to this gas station to buy a lighter on the way from the hotel into town. And the lady was really going to give me a hard time about trying to ID me for a lighter the one time I don't have my ID. And eventually I haggled her into letting me get it. She was like, well, next time you come, you better not forget. And I was like, well, good thing there won't be a next time, because this is the only time I'll need it. And, but yeah, so I'm waiting down by the beach, and eventually, Luke pulls up, and I go back home for the night, and then, Shirey, my cousin, who I've mentioned a couple times, he decided he would take me back the next day so I could go back to my car and replace the tires and whatnot. And so I get out there and I'm in between jobs at the time. So I'm living off of money that I'm making selling weed. And so I had like $400 and something to my name. And I was like about to start at this factory called Gastomp, but I was like, had left Meyer and was in between the two at the time and hadn't started yet. And so I'm hoping to get some used tires, but they don't have any used ones in the size for my car. So I have to settle and buy all new tires, and then that car breaks down not even 6 months later. So I got all new tires on this car, and it ended up breaking down not that long afterwards. But so it ended up costing pretty much all I had, and luckily at the time I had a nice clientele base, so I was able to make some money back to make it through until I got my checks and whatnot. But it was definitely a stressful situation at the time, but looking back on it is kind of funny. And finish us off, we all hate our boss at times, don't we? Oh, I actually forgot. There's a couple stories I got left, but we'll keep going with that one. We all hate our boss at times, don't we? Well, this one boss that I had at Gastomp, we had got some new lights in, and my supervisor they were super bright compared to the old lights, because the old lights had all that shop dust and whatnot on them. So my supervisor comes up, he goes, oh wow, Dylan, I've never seen those contours in your face before. And we were just making fun of him for like a week straight after that. Like, who even says that to somebody? But this dude was just just not a good boss. He did not lead by example. He'd say, like, oh, you're not supposed to be on your phone, and then he'd be on his phone the whole shift. And just, I don't know, super passive aggressive. He would always say stuff to other people, but I would never hear anything from him about having a problem with me. But this guy I worked with there on the same line as me worked at this other factory called Meridian Magnesium, and he told me that his old supervisor there, somebody took a shit in his hard hat. So I guess I could hate my boss a lot more. I've never considered doing that. But one last story to finish us off, and this one's a pretty good one. So this is my like senior year of high school, and like a lot of my friends went to Holt and had graduated a year before me, so they were all done with school, and I was not really caring about school at this point because I was ready to be done. I mean, it's senior year, who's not? And so we were all hanging out one night at my buddy's Griffin's. It was me, Chet, and Paul. And Paul used to get like pans of brownies, and so he came over, and Chet would not smoke, but he would take edibles with us. So Paul came over with like 2 batches of brownies, and so he gave everybody one right off the bat, and then like a couple hours go by, we're chilling, playing some video games and whatnot, and just hanging out, having a good time. A couple hours go by, and Paul's like, who wants another one? So we all eat a second edible. And then, not to mention, this is a school night. I have school the next morning, and this is like midnight when we take the second edible, probably. So I keep hanging out, and I probably head out like 1:30 or so. So I get home around like 1:45, 2 o'clock maybe. And so I go to bed, wake up for school the next morning. I'm feeling like super groggy, and I didn't really think about it. But so I like get in the shower. I'm trying to like wake up some more and whatnot, and get out. I'm still feeling pretty tired. I get to school, still feeling it. Eventually, like 3rd hour rolls by. I'm still feeling it. And this is when it dawns on me, like, oh my god, that's still the edibles kicking in. And I made it to lunch, which was after my 3rd period, like 11:30 probably, before I finally came down. But it was just crazy to me how I didn't even realize that's what it was. I just thought I was tired for the longest time. But come to think about it, that's definitely what it was. But we're gonna wrap this mess up and get on out of here. Go check out Icebreakers Jersey Breaks on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at IcebreakersJB. And we are out.